Hi there, Mark Satterfield here. Thanks so much for joining me. I periodically get questions about the books that I've written. Which would I recommend that you read first? Which are the ones that are most important? And so I thought I'd just shoot this real quick video to go over, let's see, I got 6 of my books that I think are worth considering if you are marketing to the wealthy and the affluent. And I'm picking these 6 out of the 14 that I've written because I think that they are particularly relevant and helpful to you. So to start things off, the Affluent Marketing Blueprint. If you have one book to read, this would be the one that I would recommend. I wrote this book with the idea being to cover the waterfront of strategies to market to the wealthy and the affluent. And the reason that I did it is because when marketing doesn't work, it doesn't usually fail because the strategy was bad. It fails because people give up. And it's understandable because what works for me isn't necessarily the same thing that's going to work for you. What I enjoy doing isn't necessarily what you enjoy doing. And that is key because when we're marketing, we need to do stuff that we just, don't hate, because if you hate it and you don't immediately get results, or you get some results and then the results keep, peter out, which, they do, and then they will, start back up. But it's really easy to give up if you just loathe whatever it is that you're doing. Now, from a practical standpoint, there's lots of ways to go and get wealthy and affluent clients. And that's what I wrote this book for, is to give you that entire gamut so you can decide what makes sense for you. And it isn't just, here's, the 11 things you can do. I go into a lot of detail, give you plans and strategies and actions so you can actually implement it. So if you haven't read any of my books, where would I start? This would be the one that I would start. Now, next, the Velvet Rope Playbook. Now, many of you are subscribers to my podcast, the Velvet Rope Playbook podcast. We're getting 300,000 downloads. It's number 3 in the nation in terms of marketing podcasts. Thank you very much for your support in that regard. And I did the podcast really because I had written some stories in an earlier book, and Marion, my wife, said, she really liked the stories. So I said, well, why don't I do a book just on stories? And I said to myself, suppose Damon Runyon. Remember Damon Runyon? He was the guy that wrote Guys and Dolls. He had all those stories about, crazy characters like Nicely Johnson and Benny South Street. It was, people like that. And so I thought, well, suppose Damon Runyon wrote some short stories around characters that were kind of, interesting and zany, but illustrated in an important marketing point. So I put those together. This is the book that has them, and then these were turned into the podcast, and it's of course grown from that because, hey, I do a podcast every day. So anyway, if you're enjoying the podcast, you'll enjoy this book as well. Now, another book that I would really recommend to you is this one, Velvet Rope StorySelling. And the reason I would recommend it is because telling stories is so important in terms of getting the affluent to pay attention to you. Stories are what differentiate you from your competition. They're what gets you out of that, middle of the bell-shaped curve where, you're just kind of indistinguishable from all the other people that do similar kinds of work. So you need stories. You need stories about yourself. You need stories about your successes. You need stories about your process, because remember that people don't remember facts and figures. They remember stories. Now, I did a book called Unique Sales Stories, 15 years ago. And it was a good book. It wasn't a great book. It was a good book, though. And I've always wanted to update it because I always thought I could do better. And so I did, if I say so myself. And this is a book that I think really belongs in in your library. This is going to be enormously helpful in terms of creating stories that you can use from everything from a cocktail party, a networking event, to your marketing collateral, your website, your social media. The ability to tell great stories is key, and this book will show you how to do that. This is my most recent book, The Power of Exclusivity. And now this book is really about positioning and branding, because when it comes to marketing to the wealthy and the affluent, they want things that not everyone else can have, or those things that are positioned to their particular needs. So you can say, well, yeah, anybody could have what I offer, but it's all about branding, it's all about positioning, it's all about marketing. So the power of exclusivity. How do we create things? How do we position our products, goods, and services in a way so that they appeal to the wealthy? And that's a real process. It goes into branding. I walk you through specific examples from the world of luxury real estate, from consulting, from entrepreneurship, from luxury retail, from concierge medicine, from travel. The list goes on and on and on. And you're going to walk away with a lot of really great ideas in terms of how you can brand your business. So if you're thinking about how do I position myself? How do I get myself in a position where people really do associate me with an elite appeal, an appeal to the affluent and the wealthy? This book's going to show you how to do it. So highly recommend that. Speaking of luxury real estate, when we were looking at the people that subscribe to my list, if I had to say I got one group of people more than any other, it would be luxury real estate. And that makes sense. There's a lot of people in luxury real estate. And so when you're a guy like me who focuses on affluent marketing, I'm going to tend to have a lot of those people. So I thought, okay, since I've got a lot of those people, not exclusively by any means, I've got lots of people who are financial advisors and concierge medical people, and in luxury retail and travel and hospitality, and the list goes on. But I do have a lot of luxury real estate folk. And so for them, wrote this book, The Luxury Agent Playbook. And it's specific to luxury real estate. Now, I will tell you that what I cover in this is applicable to lots and lots of different fields, but specifically written for luxury real estate. And I tell you, the feedback has been amazing. People from all the large luxury real estate firms have really raved about it and given me just a lot of positive feedback on it, which I'm very appreciative for. So if you're in the luxury real estate business, this is a definite must-have. Okay, last, I've got a book that's a little bit different, at least for me, which is The Gilded Revival. Now, I've been in the affluent marketing space for 30 years. And as you might imagine, I am very fascinated with the world of wealth and the origins of wealth and how wealth has changed over time. So I thought I would do a book that focused on that. This book goes from the original Gilded Age to kind of the second coming of it in the 1980s. You remember that? With Wall Street, Gordon Gekko, greed is good. Of course, sure you do. Up to the present day, where we can argue that we're about to go into another golden or another gilded age. So this is a real historical perspective, because by understanding what has happened in the past, we're better positioned in terms of marketing our products, goods, and services today. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is a real good book. It was a labor of love. It was a lot of fun. So, having said all that, the final recommendations to you, as I mentioned before, I would say first and foremost, if you haven't read any of my stuff, hey, read this. This is the book that you're going to want to get, because this is going to give you all the tools, tactics, strategies, and ideas to go get yourself a bunch of affluent and wealthy clients. And then secondarily, I would say, let's see if we can find it real quick. Here it is. The Velvet Rope StorySelling. This is all about, as I mentioned, how to create stories that differentiate you from your competition, that get you remembered, that get you out of that bell-shaped curve, that alleviate that terrible problem of being the best kept secret in your field. So this is a really good book that you'll definitely want to get. Now, not sure where you're watching this, but there should be a link on this, really close to this video, where you can get all of my books from me, or you of course can get all of them from Amazon, and pretty much, yeah, all 6 of them hit #1 when they debuted. So again, thank you very much for your support. So that's what I got for you. I think these are some really great resources. I encourage you to check them out. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of my community. And until we have a chance to talk again, this is Mark Satterfield. Bye for now.